Hi. In this video, we are going to look at the basic principles of intrusion detection. As you can see in the slide, this is the basic intrusion detection and analysis engine. Whenever a traffic is coming in, it is going to be detected here. It is going to look at the behavior of the user. It is going to look at the traffic and compare it to the knowledge base that it already has. The traffic is coming in, it is looking at the traffic, comparing it to the knowledge base which contains the information about historical behavior, specific behavior patterns of different users and other pieces of information. It does an analysis on the traffic based on the information it is getting from the knowledge base, and if it is an intrusion, it is going to record the evidence and it is going to take appropriate measures, for example informing the network or security administrator or requesting the firewall to block the traffic, or whatever measures have been configured. It is going to take those measures and detect the intrusion. However, if there is no intrusion, it is going to extract the data or keep the data and keep adding to the knowledge base which it is building all the time, which it is constantly building. So this is the basic detection principle of an intrusion detection system. If you look at the architecture of an IDS, it's similar, or it's based on the behavior which we saw in the last slide. In this slide, it is based on the intrusion detection principles. And in this case, we can see that in the middle is the intrusion intelligence engine. If there is any traffic that is flowing and this traffic is going to be extracted by the switch, for example, by the network switch, it is going to be passed on to the IDS, to its intrusion analysis engine. Based on the information that it gets from the knowledge base, it is going to check whether it's an intrusion or not, and it is going to give an appropriate response. And at the same time, it is going to store the data, whether the data that is being extracted or the evidence, etc., that it is, or the analysis that it is doing on the data. That information is going to be stored on the data storage, which is part of the IDS. You can implement the IDS based on two intrusion detection principles. One is called the anomaly detection or the abnormality detection, and the other one is called the misuse detection or the signature based detection. First, let's take a look at the misuse detection or signature based detection. What we mean by signature based detection is that an IDS has a database of typical attacks or typical intrusions that have historically happened or that can happen, and there is an evidence or there is a record of those intrusions in the knowledge base. And if there is a traffic coming in or if there is any kind of attack happening, IDS can immediately compare that to the knowledge base with the signatures that attack signatures that it already has, and if there is a signature matching, then it will know that this is an attack happening and it can take appropriate action, either informing the administrator or requesting the firewall to drop the traffic. So this is called misuse detection. And the other one is the anomaly detection. This misuse detection, by the way, can only happen if the information is already present in the signature database. If the signature is not present, the IDS cannot detect an intrusion based on misuse detection. However, if we are implementing anomaly detection, this means that the IDS is going to benchmark the standard or the usual behavior of users and applications and services, and if there is anything different happening, or if a user behavior changes from its ordinary or normal behavior, this is a red flag. This will raise a red flag with the IDS, and the IDS will immediately know that this is not normal behavior and this is probably an attack. So using anomaly detection, we can actually detect the attacks for which we do not have a previous signature available, because this is more intelligent, more sophisticated, and this is based on the user profiles or the normal user behaviors, and if there is any deviation from that behavior, this is most probably an attack. This is how we implement anomaly detection. So if this is the normal behavior, these green lines show the normal behavior, and if the IDS sees that there is a great difference between the normal and the current behavior of the traffic or any particular user or application, this means that probably this is an attack. So beyond certain threshold, if there is difference beyond certain threshold, then that traffic or that behavior is considered to be attack behavior, or it's considered to be an intrusion. This is the basic principle of anomaly detection. Similarly, what we do in misuse detection is, as I mentioned earlier, that we have a signature database, or we have a previous history of how certain types of attacks happen, and there's a large signature database, and we can compare the traffic that we are detecting or the traffic that we are analyzing with that signature database. If any of the behavior of any of the traffic is similar or the same as that present in the signature database, we will immediately know, or the IDS will immediately know, that this is attack traffic. So the main matching algorithms are really advanced. Technically, the detection is easier to implement because we only have to compare with the signature database, and the rest is easy. If it's a match, then this means this is an attack. And the detection is accurate because we are doing simple comparison with the signature database. Therefore, it's not difficult as the anomaly detection is. And it's easier to update whenever there is a new signature added to the central database. We can update the signature database online from our central server. If we do a comparison of these two, you can see that misuse detection or signature based detection, the advantages are that all known intrusion behaviors can be detected. All known, so known is very important. Unknown intrusion behaviors cannot be detected because for this we do not have any signature. Intrusion behavior can be specified and defense methods can be prompted. Unauthorized behavior of internal personnel cannot be detected. This is a disadvantage because you are not looking at the variation in their behavior. As long as it's an internal user, you know this is a trusted user, so there is no problem with this. However, anomaly detection can take care of these disadvantages. No dedicated operating system or vulnerability database is required. No signature matching is required. The spoofing of authorized users can be effectively detected. So if anyone is pretending to be someone else, we will immediately know based on their behavior. However, the disadvantage is that it is difficult to define normal behavior and abnormal behavior thresholds because the entire anomaly detection is based on comparison between the normal behavior and the abnormal behavior. So it's difficult to exactly define what is normal and what is abnormal, and beyond which point normal ends and abnormal starts. So that threshold is also very tricky to define. Not all intrusion behavior causes obvious exceptions. Yeah, if it's an abnormal behavior, or if it's a malicious behavior and it still falls within the threshold of normal behavior, then obviously the IDS is going to ignore that and not raise a red flag. And it's an attack happening and IDS has not detected that attack. So IDS was an older technology or an older technique of handling intrusions. The technique that we use mostly, that is being used today, is called the IPS, or the Intrusion Prevention System. Let's take a look at what an intrusion prevention system is, what is the difference between IDS and IPS, and what are the advantages of IPS over the IDS. So IPS is a relatively new network attack or new network intrusion prevention device. So as new network attack techniques emerge and more security vulnerabilities are found, traditional technologies combining the firewall with IDS cannot address all security threats. Because as you know that IDS was only observing or only detecting the attacks, it could not prevent the attacks directly. It could either inform the security administrator, or it could inform the firewall or request the firewall to drop the connections or to drop the traffic. It could not proactively or directly prevent the attacks on its own. So if we wanted the device, or if we wanted the attacks to be detected as well as prevented simultaneously, we needed a device which had the prevention capability. that device is called intrusion prevention device or intrusion prevention system. And it's a relatively newer system as compared to IDS, but this is what you will normally see in your networks these days. It can deeply sense and detect data traffic that passes through, and it can discard malicious packets to block the attacks and limit the abused packets to protect bandwidth resources. Instead of depending on the firewall or anything else, it can prevent most of the attacks from happening directly on its own. If you look at the intrusion prevention technology is an extension of intrusion detection technology. It first of all is going to detect the intrusion behavior such as overflow attacks, trojans, worms, etc. And then it protects the enterprise information system and network architectures against these intrusions as well. The IDS would only detect and not prevent or protect, but this is going to protect as well. So intrusion prevention is a newer technology that can detect as well as prevent intrusion behavior. Intrusion prevention detects a network intrusion behavior and automatically discards intrusion packets or blocks attack sources. This is where it improves upon the IDS. It not only detects, but it also discards and blocks the attacks from happening. So this is preventing the intrusion. So it's going a step beyond the IDS. The advantages of IPS are that it is doing real-time blocking, which the IDS on its own was not doing. It's providing in-depth defense. It's providing an all-round protection and is not dependent on any other device like firewall. It's preventing attacks from outside and from within, and it provides up-to-date protection, which means that the IPS signature database can be updated from time to time, and it is more appropriate for handling the modern day attacks which are happening in our networks these days. The IPS can be deployed in two modes. We can either deploy it inline or we can deploy it offline. Inline deployment means that the IPS is deployed in serial with the network traffic or inline with the network traffic, which means that the traffic is passing through the IPS. That is what we call the inline protection. In the offline mode, what we do is that we pass on the traffic from the network to the IPS either through SPAN or switch port analyzer or through optical splitter or technical access point, test access point or TAP, which means that we are splitting the traffic or we are sending a copy of the traffic to the IPS for analysis and intrusion prevention. It is not lying inline, however, but a copy of the traffic is being sent to it. So it can work both in inline and offline mode, but mostly it is implemented in the inline mode. If we do a final comparison between IDS and IPS in a single line, we can say that IDS is primarily a risk management device, or IDS is a risk management technique where we are only checking the risk and managing the risk by either instructing the firewall for blocking the traffic or informing the administrator about the attack that is happening. However, the IPS is a risk controlling device, which means it is not only detecting the risk, but is in most of the cases being inline, it is also preventing that risk or controlling that risk as well. So obviously IPS is a much more useful device, and these days you'll find IPS almost in all the network security situations or scenarios, and IDS is hard to find these days. So we can say that IPS is the device that we're using these days for network intrusion prevention. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you understand the basics of intrusion and the difference between intrusion detection systems and the modern intrusion prevention systems. Thank you.